Hey squirrels, welcome back to AVY-HD. Today we are talking about something powerful but super easy to overlook, and that is celebrating small victories and keeping ourselves moving forward, especially when we have ADHD. So, if you're a person with ADHD, I'm going to describe something that feels probably very familiar to you. And it's just a regular everyday occurrence for us. You have a task to do. Let's pick literally anything. Crafting a report. You have to write a report. And this task feels so massive because not only do I now have to draft my report, I have to collect the information that I need for the report. I have to get everything in order. I have to make sure that I'm not going to have any distractions because I'm anticipating a job that's going to be not very dopamine rewarding for me. I'm anticipating something that's going to be harder for me to do. So maybe I push it off. Maybe I procrastinate. Maybe I delay. And all the while, I'm overwhelming myself more and more and more and more and building this task up in my mind into something larger than it is. So if you've ever struggled to get going or you often feel overwhelmed by big tasks, this episode is for you. And if you just clicked away, then I don't understand you at all because I feel this way every day, at least once a day. Let's talk a little bit about the ADHD brain and dopamine. The ADHD brain and all of our brains actually are dopamine seeking. Dopamine is the yay chemical. It's the reward. It gives you a little boost of motivation. It gives you a little boost of like, hooray, I love doing this. It's a feel good chemical, but it's not a feel good chemical that lasts for a very long time. So things that we do that produce dopamine, eating sugar, or scrolling on our phones, or getting some sort of validation on social media, a like or a share. Those are dopamine producing activities. And for the normal brain, completing a task provides a hit of dopamine. So I write a list, right? I write down my whole list and I check off an item and I get a little hit of dopamine, a little bit of, yay, you did it. So that's why a lot of advice will tell you that the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is you should make your bed. Why should you make your bed? It's going to give you a feeling of accomplishment and you're going to feel ready to start the day. You're going to start off by something motivating. You're going to start off by accomplishing something, and that's going to set the tone for the whole day. That sounds like really good advice, but it works very differently for the ADHD brain because our brain does not treat motivation in the same way. That little dopamine boost that the neurotypical person gets, that little like, yes, I did it. For the ADHD brain, it feels just like, whew, okay, that's done. So it doesn't translate as a dopamine hit of like hooray. It's just a little bit of relief. And this, I think, is where a lot of people with ADHD struggle with their task completion. It adds into the already natural difficulty of getting started and sticking to a task. When the expectation is that when I do this task, I'm going to feel good afterwards. Why do I have that expectation? Because the whole world has told me my entire life that once you finish something, you're going to feel great. Oh, just do it. You're going to feel great. You're going to feel so good when it's done. And then you finish and you don't feel so good when it's done. You just feel like, all right, cool, that's done. What does that do to your brain? What does that do to the pattern that you're creating in your mind when you have an expectation that's out of alignment with what happens? I'm expecting to feel amazing and I feel a little bit relieved. My brain has the opportunity to perceive that as a failure. I was supposed to feel amazing and I only feel kind of okay. Maybe I did it wrong. Maybe I'm broken. When what it really is that your brain doesn't work the same way. So instead, we need to learn what we feel like when we get that hit of dopamine in our brain. When I get that hit of dopamine in my brain and it feels like, whew, okay, that's done. I feel a mild sense of relief. What I do when I feel that is say to myself, this sense of relief, this is what you were waiting for. This is the feeling that you've been waiting to feel, right? Because then I take away my disappointment of not feeling amazing and I reframe in my own brain, feeling relieved and having something checked off my plate. That does feel good. This is a good feeling. Lack of a negative feeling is a positive feeling. It's net positive if you remove the negative. So try that reframing technique because you're not going to feel physiologically or in your brain the same way that a neurotypical person will feel when they complete a task. Don't get discouraged by that. You're just a little bit different. So when I achieve something simple, right? Like people tell you when you go to the gym, you're going to go to the gym, you're going to get your workout in, you're going to feel amazing. I promise you that I'm not. I promise you that I'm not going to go to the gym and then leave being like, yes, I did it. Ah. I'm going to leave the gym being like, all right, cool, done. Now what's next? It is my job that when I have accomplished going to the gym, which was hard for me today, right? I went to the gym and I didn't want to. Now I'm done at the gym. And I say, okay, cool, what's next? That's where we say, wait, brain, 1 second, pause. Remember that it was really hard for you to go to the gym? You did it anyways. That's pretty cool. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be a huge celebration, but make a note to yourself. I accomplished this thing. I started it and I stuck to it. I had the capacity to complete the task that was difficult for me. Is it earth-shatteringly, mind-blowingly, groundbreaking that you managed to go to the gym? Maybe not. But you don't gain anything by belittling your efforts. You gain the most by hyping yourself up in the places that you know that you're weak, even if you shouldn't, quote unquote, be weak in those areas. So, what do we do? How do we actually break this down to get something accomplished? Big goals can feel massive because it's literally like waking up at the beginning of the day. Okay. You wake up today, you open up your eyes, you're ready to start a new day. I pick you up out of your bed in your pajamas and I put you at the base of a mountain and I say, okay, climb. You're barefoot. You don't have any water with you. You didn't bring any snacks. And now you're supposed to climb the mountain. So you're standing there staring up at the base of this mountain. You can't even see the top. I don't even know where I'm headed anymore at this point. So the first thing that we need to do is break it down step by step. So in our mountain climbing example, we don't show up in our pajamas. We need to be wearing adequate gear. We need to have the right supplies. We need to set ourselves up for success. So that is the first step of breaking down a task. Not what do I need to do to get this task done? That's not the first step for us. No, 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 no. Our first step is what is going to prevent me from being successful in this task further on down the line? Why is that my first step? Because, my friends, we know what is coming. What is coming? Distraction is coming. Procrastination is coming. Overwhelm is coming. All sorts of attempted manipulation tactics to get you to not do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. They are coming. They're coming for you. So what do we do first? I'm about to climb a mountain. I need the correct clothing. I need the correct shoes. I need the correct food. I need the correct amount of water. I need the correct support. I need the correct supplies. And I need an adequate amount of time. Those are all things that I need. So if I don't have any of those things, let me go get it. Let me go make sure that I have what I need. We're going to talk in a little bit about how we can use that also as a way to distract ourselves. And it's not always to our advantage. But the first thing is to figure out what I need. Then the second thing is to figure out, okay, I know where I am. I know where I'm going. I know what I need to get there. Now, what are the steps? How do I get from here to there? This planning process, what I'm describing, is normally so exhausting that it's like depletes all of my mental resources to even just do this planning part. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some ways that we can do all of this planning without draining all of our mental capacity. So there's a couple of things that we know. If I'm going to be climbing a mountain, I need food and I need water. So what do I always want to have with me? I always want to have a water bottle and I always want to have snacks. That applies when you are climbing a mountain, and it also applies when you're running errands or going here or going there. You have a bunch of things to do during the day. You're going to need food and you're going to need water. You're going to forget that you need either one of those. And your brain is going to remind you at a very inopportune time, wait, you haven't eaten in like 20 hours. And it's going to remind you of that when you are trying and finally succeeding in sitting down and accomplishing the thing that you have been avoiding the entire time. Do not let yourself fall victim to the same trap over and over and over again. How do we avoid this? Have a granola bar in your pocket. Put snacks in your car, put snacks in your bag, put snacks in your pockets, put snacks in your kids' bags. Put snacks wherever you are so that when your brain says, you need a snack right now, you already have a backup plan in place. Same thing for water. You are going to need something to drink. Leave something to drink all over the place. Right now, I am recording a podcast. I do not have something to drink next to me. Everything in my brain is telling me to go get up and get myself something to drink. Why is it telling me that? Because I don't want to be here. I don't want to be recording this podcast right now. I want to be chilling with my kid on the couch. That's what I want to be doing. So what my brain is telling me to do is get up and go get a drink. You're going to feel so much better once you have a drink in your hand. You're so thirsty. You can't possibly make it through this podcast without a cup of coffee. And look, it's just right over there. Just look over. You could pour yourself a cup of coffee. It'll take 10 seconds. But what happens if I get up right now? I'm setting myself up for failure. If I listen to that part of my brain that says, just go and get a drink, you're going to be okay. But you really need it. You need it right now. No, you don't. You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. And next time, have that drink with you beforehand. Why am I teaching myself this lesson so harshly right now? What is the big deal if I just get up and go pour myself a cup of coffee? The big deal is that before I sat down to record this podcast, I said to myself in my own mind, you're probably going to get thirsty while you're recording this. You should fill up your water bottle and pour yourself a cup of coffee. You normally like having those things with you when you're recording. And you know what I did? I didn't do that. So if I get up right now and I pour myself a cup of coffee, I am rewarding myself for bad behavior. I have rewarded myself for something that I did not earn. I would have earned the reward if I poured my cup of coffee in advance, because then I'm rewarding myself for setting myself up for success. If I get up right now and I go pour my cup of coffee, what I'm rewarding myself for is continuing to set myself up for failure. Listen to what I'm saying. If you reward yourself for bad behavior, you're going to continue to reward yourself for bad behavior. The same thing that works with our kids works for us. Don't allow yourself to fall into the same traps over and over and over again. And sometimes that means being strict with yourself. Am I thirsty? Yes, I'm genuinely and legitimately thirsty right now. Would it be unreasonable to go and pour myself a drink? No, that's reasonable. You're thirsty, you go pour yourself a drink. But it is more important for me to practice this discipline of knowing that I could have set myself up for success and I chose intentionally to set myself up for failure. ADHD is not an excuse. ADHD is a reason that things are difficult for you. And it's not an excuse for anything because no one cares that your life is harder. No one cares that I'm thirsty right now. No one cares that I don't feel like being here. There is a podcast to be recorded. There's information that I have in my brain and in my heart that I need to share with you. That is more important than having my needs met right now. We are adults. We have the capacity for discipline. And even though there are reasons that we're not good at something, and that deserves compassion and understanding, it is never an excuse. You are the master of your own destiny. And if you choose to reward yourself for bad behavior, you will continue to create patterns in which you reward yourself for bad behavior. That's one important side of things. Let's talk about the other side of the coin, an all or nothing mentality. Okay. Let me take this podcast example. It's happening literally right now. I'm thirsty. I want to go get something to drink, but I'm recording a podcast because an all or nothing mentality would tell me that because I did not pour myself a cup of coffee or set myself up for success, because I don't have my drinks next to me, even though I knew I would need them, I am a failure. You should have known. You did know. You chose not to do it. You suck. That's a dumb conclusion. And I know that that's not a particularly compassionate way of saying that, but that conclusion is dumb. When you do things that are hard for you and you do them anyways, that means that you're extra awesome. If you did something that's easy for you, okay, doing something that's hard for you and doing it anyways, that's real bravery. That's really showing up for yourself. That's really proving to yourself that you can rely on you. You can do this. You have the capacity to accomplish any of your goals within yourself. Because when things are hard for you and when there's a valid and legitimate reason for you to not get something done, you find another way to do it. I used to think that if I didn't accomplish everything perfectly, or if I didn't accomplish things in the correct order, that was a really big deal for me. I didn't do it in the right order, or I didn't do it in a way that made sense to someone else. I felt like I was doing it wrong. But it's not wrong. It's progress. Did you make forward movement in this thing? Yes or no? If you did, that's progress and it should be celebrated. The next step of this, I'm supposed to talk about building consistency and habit tracking. I'm not going to talk about that. That's not relevant for us. You will not build consistency through habits. And I'm so sorry to be the person to tell you this. You will not build consistency through habits. You have ADHD. The bad news is that it's going to be harder for you. But like, what else is new? I'm not telling you anything that you didn't already know. The good news is that you can release yourself from that shitty advice that people keep giving you. Every single day of my life, I struggle to brush my teeth. I have brushed my teeth twice a day for 32 years. You would think that I would be able to be consistent because that is pretty much the prime example of habit stacking or building habits. You brush your teeth every morning, you brush your teeth every night. You do it every day, every single day. It becomes natural. It becomes just part of what you do. Not if you have ADHD. It doesn't get easy. because you're not going to remember it in the same way. What's cool about that, again, is that you can now release yourself from the terrible fucking advice that people have been giving you your whole life, because that advice does not apply to you. Now that I know that that advice does not apply to me, I can figure out what advice does apply to me. And I'm going to leave you with one thing. There's a million things, but I'm going to leave you with one. Do it when you think of it. Okay? If you are making coffee and you say to yourself, "Oh, haven't brushed my teeth yet today," take your coffee cup to go brush your teeth. Just do it when it occurs to you, and then it'll be done. Again, there's a lot of other methods. There's a lot of other tricks. We will go through them all, not in this episode, but in future episodes. And if you need the help, let us know what you need help with. Let us know what you're trying to figure out. We want to know. We want to help you figure out your real problems in your real life. There are ways around everything. When it occurs to you, do it then. And I'm going to leave you with this, either through AVHD or through alistova.com. That's ALISTOVA.com. We can help you with a free delegation consultation to figure out where in your life you need help and where in your life you can be helped. And we can help you implement that assistance in your life. Stop struggling alone. It's a waste of time already. We got work to do. We have stuff to do. And you're precious. Your time is precious. Your efforts are precious. Your happiness is precious. Your well-being is precious. Let's go. Let's stop wasting time and start living completely and totally in our own strengths. Until next week, I am Abigail Schondorf. Thank you so, so much for being here with me, and celebrate progress. You're doing awesome. Bye.